Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, let's just jump right into it. Today we're unpacking a struggle I can pretty much guarantee you deal with every single day. We're looking at exactly why our modern brains are currently losing this massive battle for focus against digital algorithms. You know that feeling when you sit down to do like 5 minutes of work and suddenly you've lost an entire hour to mindless scrolling? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. And the crazy thing is, it's actually not a lack of willpower. It's biology. We beat ourselves up all the time thinking our attention spans are just totally broken. But as we're going to see today, the reality is a lot more complex, and understanding the actual root cause is the very first step to getting your time back. So stick with me, because you're really going to want to hear these concepts.
To understand why our attention is under such heavy fire right now, we actually have to look backward. So let's look at Section 1, Meet Your Inner Caveman, and the evolution of focus.
I want you to completely transport yourself back in time for a second. Picture this. It's 20,000 BC, and you are an ancient ancestor named Grog. There's no AC, no food delivery apps, definitely no ergonomic office chairs. It's just you, the untamed wilderness, and immediate physical threats lurking behind literally every tree. It's 20,000 years ago, and your biological makeup as Grog is brilliantly engineered for this one incredibly dangerous environment. Every single thing about how your brain works, how it reacts to sudden movement, what it prioritizes, it's all been fine-tuned over millennia just to keep you alive.
For Grog, the daily to-do list is pretty short. It basically comes down to hunt the buffalo or get eaten by the tiger. That is it. There are no secondary objectives, and there is certainly no multitasking. Because the stakes are literally life and death, Grog's brain is this absolute masterpiece of evolution built for intense hyperfocus. And what does that actually mean in practice? It means complete environmental awareness. If his mind wanders to, say, a pretty leaf while he's tracking prey, or if he tunes out the rustling sounds in the bushes, well, game over. His survival depends entirely on a brain that ruthlessly locks onto what matters right now in his physical space and aggressively ignores the rest.
Okay, let's snap back to the present. Section 2, the digital dopamine trap and hunting for dopamine.
Fast forward to today. Biologically speaking, you are still Grog. Your brain hasn't fundamentally upgraded its hardware. I mean, human evolution takes hundreds of thousands of years, not a few decades, but instead of hunting for survival in the wilderness, you're desperately hunting for dopamine in your pocket. We've totally shifted away from that ancient, deliberate focus that used to help us build lasting legacies. Instead, we've traded it for modern distraction. We've become this frantic, pixel-addicted mess, just endlessly scrolling through a digital landfill. We are essentially using a prehistoric survival tool to navigate a world of artificial urgency.
We're constantly bombarded, right? TikTok notifications, YouTube shorts, just endless junk food content. And don't even get me started on those anxiety-inducing red 99+ bubbles on our apps. You know that tight feeling in your chest when you look at a screen full of unread notifications? Your brain actually interprets that as a legitimate crisis. Our focus is actively being hijacked. And this is the absolutely crucial takeaway here. We aren't failing this modern test because we lack discipline. We're failing because we don't have the natural defenses to fight off an economy that is explicitly designed to profit from our distraction. Literally, every second your eyes are glued to that screen, somebody else is making money.
Which brings us to the core biological problem. Section 3. The infinite content buffet, or our modern endless dopamine feed.
So the underlying issue is that your brain is basically a novelty-seeking machine. That's the exact biological reward system we inherited from Grog. Back in his day, discovering a new berry bush or a fresh water source, these new stimuli, gave his brain a tiny hit of dopamine. Dopamine is just nature's way of saying, hey, whatever you just did is awesome for your survival, keep doing it. But today, every single digital notification, every ping, every new like on a post, it triggers that exact same chemical reward. Your brain literally thinks you are finding life-saving resources every time your phone buzzes.
And here is where the system completely breaks down. We have a massive mismatch. Ancient food sources, which that dopamine system was built for, were finite. You find a bush, you eat the berries are gone. The dopamine hit naturally ends, your brain resets, and you move on to do something else. But modern digital content feeds, they are infinite. They never, ever end. There is literally no natural stopping cue built into the design.
There's a quote from the source material that I think hits the nail right on the head. You are a prehistoric hunter-gatherer trapped in a digital buffet. Just think about that for a second. Because modern feeds are completely bottomless, you could theoretically scroll for 24 hours straight without ever hitting a limit. Your prehistoric brain just doesn't know when to stop, because out in nature, abundance like that was incredibly rare. So your brain is essentially eating itself to death on this infinite content,
constantly chasing the next dopamine hit, the next video, the next post, until you were just completely drained.
So, once we recognize this massive biological mismatch, how do we actually fix it? Let's get into Section 4, reclaiming your attention and building your defenses.
The good news is we aren't totally helpless here. The source material lays out 3 really actionable defense strategies to help you get back to a deliberate state of mind and reclaim your brain from the algorithm. These are aggressive minimalism, deep work rituals, and embracing boredom. Let's break these down one by one so you can start using them right away.
First up is aggressive minimalism. The rule here is incredibly straightforward. Turn off all your notifications. I mean, all of them. The logic is simple. If something doesn't add direct, tangible value to your life, it's just noise trying to hijack your inner caveman. A random 20% off promotional email, a mobile game telling you your virtual energy is full, that's just noise. But a text from a family member who actually needs you, that is value. By shutting off all those automatic alerts, you force the algorithm to wait for you, and you immediately cut off its ability to tap you on the shoulder and steal your focus.
Next up, we have deep work rituals. Now, this goes way beyond just putting your phone on silent. This tactic requires you to carve out specific blocks of time for focused work where your phone isn't just sitting in another room. It needs to be completely powered off. And here's a totally wild insight. Studies actually show that even having a phone powered on and sitting face down on your desk actively drains your cognitive capacity. Crazy, right? It's because a small part of your brain is burning energy actively trying to ignore it. You have to remove the physical temptation entirely so your brain can actually settle into deep, sustained thought.
Finally, step 3. And this might honestly be the hardest one for us today. You must embrace boredom. You have to stop filling every single idle second, like waiting in line for coffee, sitting on the bus, or taking a quick break, with a glowing screen. Your brain desperately needs empty space to breathe. Why? Because idle time is when your brain's default mode network kicks in. It quietly connects different ideas and processes complex information in the background. This is exactly why your absolute best, most creative ideas always seem to happen when you're in the shower. When you're constantly consuming content, you leave zero bandwidth for actually creating anything of your own.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty heavy question to chew on. Are you building a legacy, or are you just drowning in pixels? Look, your attention is the absolute most valuable currency you possess. It is the raw material of your life's work. So we have to stop spending it on algorithms and apps that literally do not care about us. Take a moment today and really ask yourself which side of history you want to be on. If you're sick of the constant noise, it is time to start building your defenses and focus on what actually matters. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this gives you the tools you need to take your attention back.